Why are people saying racism is on the rise? Hi, I'm Maria Bermeo, clinical psychologist, and on this channel we talk about various topics, we analyze them from a psychological point of view, so if you're interested, please keep on watching. Before starting this video, I want to remind you that I give in-person and online therapy, so if you need a consultation, please feel free to reach me out on my social media, my phone number, my email, all of them will be listed down below on the description box as well. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, it will help me out a lot. And if there's a specific topic that you would like me to talk about, leave it in the comments down below or feel free to DM me on my Instagram. I'm always open to suggestions and I love interacting with you all. By the thumbnail, by the title, you may have noticed what are we talking about today. The apparent rise of racism, according to some people, a discussion that started thanks to an American Eagle ad featuring Sydney Sweeney, but there is another commercial that came out right after that one, and something that a famous singer said in one of her concerts that made this whole debate an even bigger deal. And this argument shows us the concerning psychological state of a part of our society. Now, you've probably already seen the controversial American Eagle's marketing campaign with Sydney Sweeney, but if you haven't or have already forgotten about it, don't worry, let's take a watch.
Genes are passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality, and even eye color. My genes are blue.
Sydney Sweeney has very genes.
I'm not here to tell you to buy American Eagle jeans. And I definitely won't say that they're the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn. Or that they make your butt look amazing. Why would I need to do that? But if you said that you want to buy the jeans, I'm not going to stop you. But just so we're clear, this is not me telling you to buy American Eagle jeans.
Sydney Sweeney has very genes.
You see what I did there, right?
Marketing is supposed to promote something in a catchy way so the product sticks in your mind and you feel drawn to consume it. You could say it manipulates your psyche to persuade you to buy something. Anyway, for it to become unforgettable, sometimes brands play with words. American Eagle in this case played with genes from the pants and genes from genetics. And that is why people are outraged, because somehow this whole campaign got twisted and tagged as a promotion of eugenics. You know what Hitler stood by, that there is a superior race that needs to expand and the inferior ones need to be eliminated. But how did we get to this point?
American Eagle using fashion as a way to influence young, middle American women, ages 15 to 25, because that's their demographic. In their prime reproductive years, to focus on purity and passing down the correct genes. And they thought it was a cute double entendre, but it wasn't. Oh, and don't think this was an accident. This was very intentional, and it would not have mattered one bit if a person of color was in the room, because this message was not intended for us. Oh, and it landed for its intended market. Fashion companies use ads to send out very alarming messages. This isn't the first time, and it won't be the last.
I have to repeat it. An ad for jeans has been accused of promoting eugenics. And this is what happens when you're so deep into any ideology. You see everything through that ideological lens. Therefore, you train your brain, you condition it to generalize every single thing you see as something political, as something oppressive, discriminatory in this case, when it is not like that 24/7. If you think it is that way, you may be trapped in an echo chamber that is brainwashing you and blinding you to assume that everything has a subliminal message, which makes you mentally ill because overreaching to find it stresses you severely. Look, Sydney Sweeney is the newest bombshell, the woman everyone considers beautiful, so of course brands are going to want her to promote their product, not because of her race, but because she is a trend right now. Second, American Eagle is selling jeans, blue pants. Sydney happens to have blue eyes, so it is most likely that they wanted to play with those two key characteristics, which is what you do do when you want an ad to stick. Third, Sydney has been acclaimed for her beautiful looking face, for her amazing body, and something individuals usually say when they praise someone's physical traits is, you have the genes. And they say that to anyone they are giving compliments to despite the race. Which means that probably American Eagle just wanted to push the narrative of buy our genes so you can look as gorgeous and sexy as Sydney Sweeney, a natural beauty, not let's eliminate non-white people. I bet you that if the same ad had been released but featuring a black mixed race Latino person, no one would have said anything about it. Maybe some even would have praised it for including minorities. Now it doesn't look that cancelable, does it? The backlash to Sydney Sweeney's American Eagle ad for racial undertones or eugenics is absurd. It is just a blonde model in jeans, but media spins it into propaganda. It's a classic example of overreach, turning everything into a culture war battle. Exactly, and this is what happens when people have that cognitive bias to generalize everything as xphobic, exoppressive. They have been taught to believe that white equals bad, fascism, exclusion, evil, dictatorship. So whenever they see a white person, they immediately associate them with this negative stuff. But isn't that just as discriminatory, as racist, as the things they are claiming they are battling against? Shouldn't the movement of love and inclusion praise every single ad because now it is featuring a white woman that's embracing her sexiness, but it could have also been a black, Asian, Latino woman? It has already been done too. Then why not including every single race, including the white one? Isn't that white phobia? Isn't this hatred actually pushing eugenics because of its desire of getting rid of whiteness? That contradiction is not clicking. How do you get to the conclusion that the Sydney Sweeney has great genes was genes equals whiteness? I thought it was genes due to her boobs. I mean, I already said it. It might have just been looking as beautiful as Sydney. But again, when you're trapped in your own extremist ideological bubble, you condition yourself to relate everything to something political, which is not healthy because you're submitting yourself to so much stress by getting angry at everything you see. You're wasting so much energy by overreaching into every single little detail to find some oppressive explanation to everything, to then rationalize all that stuff into some the world sucks narrative, which actually depresses you because you are filtering way too much negativity. Now, due to this controversy, netizens decided to search and find out Sydney is affiliated to the Republican Party there in the US. Also, it has been public knowledge that her family is openly Republican, and because of that, they automatically assume that the American Eagle campaign is indeed some kind of white supremacy eugenics promotion. And I have to repeat it, why does everything have to be twisted into politics? If you turned everything into something political, then you're the problem and you're projecting your own actions into someone else. You think they are trying to brainwash you with an ideology by inserting cryptic political statements into every single thing because maybe you and your people are doing so. You are the one that is inserting politics into every single conversation you have. You're the one that is making politics your entire identity, which is dysfunctional because that is blinding you and you are not seeing stuff that should be more relevant to point out and have discussions about. Because if anything, I would say that instead of attacking Sydney for being a beautiful white woman, it'd be more important to discuss about her hypersexualization and how it could affect her and her mental health in the long run, because it is not the most optimal thing to encourage creeps and enhance their weird fetishes by selling your bath water in the shape of soap. It is not the best thing to replicate and romanticize an ad that exploited and traumatized a 14-15-year-old Brooke Shields. It is not optimal to play a sexual character 24/7 if you feel dehumanized and have openly talked about it? What made Sydney change? What's pushing her to continue with the game? Does she genuinely feel okay playing it, or is it affecting her overall? How long will it last, and how could it affect her mind and even her career in the future? That's a more relevant conversation that could bring more awareness to our society, because that is something that is actually happening, not an overreached subliminal assumption that's making you fatalize and magnify life in general. Hey, editing me. So right after I finished filming this video, I got the news that Donald Trump was asked live during a press conference what does he think about Sydney Sweeney being affiliated to the Republican Party, and Donald Trump was like, oh, you know, she's cool, she's hot, I love her. And people were saying, oh my god, that means Sydney Sweeney is indeed a racist, she's a Yahtzee. It doesn't mean that. Sydney has her own political views as any human being, and it's okay, let her be. And Donald Trump, well, of course he's gonna say, you know, Sydney Sweeney is cool, but not because they are allies or super, hyper, mega close friends. He's just trying to fit in with the guys, you know, his younger demographic of voters, which were young men, and young men love Sydney Sweeney. So of course he's gonna try to play it cool as well, because he knows it's gonna give him more advantages in the sense of appreciation maybe from young boys to Trump. So, and he's a socialite, that's just his personality. Again, he's just going to try to play it cool. It doesn't mean Sydney and Trump are allies. It just means Trump is president and he is trying to fit in with his voters, and Sydney Sweeney has her own political views, and we should respect that. It doesn't mean anyone involved in this whole thing is a Yahtzee or whatever. But continuing with the ad topic, American Eagle was not the only brand that made a marketing campaign around physical traits nor genes. Dunkin Donuts also did it and also received backlash.
This tan? Genetics. I just got my color analysis back. Guess what? Golden summer. Literally. I can't help it. Every time I drink a Dunkin' Golden Hour refresher, it's like the sun just finds me. So sipping these refreshers makes me the king of summer. Guilty as charged.
You would think that this could be American Eagle's counterpart, as it is not praising whiteness but rather a nice tan. But no, it is apparently still racist. Oh dear god, Dunkin Donuts is sparking outrage with this commercial, which is clearly about eugenics. These companies are forcing white supremacist propaganda on us, and I cannot handle it. When did he say X-rays is bad, let's erase it? When did he do or say something that could be interpreted as a desire of getting rid of a race? He just said, I have a nice tan because of my genetics, and this donut summer drink gives it a punch, so I look cool during the summer. The ad is literally telling you to buy their product that is summer exclusive to make your summer overall better. And again, to make it catchier, they played with the key aspect that matches the guy and the drink. A golden tone, not even whiteness, but a nice tan. I'm gonna tell you guys that I look like a shrimp during the summer because of my genetics, which don't allow me to have a nice tan. Is that promoting eugenics? No, that is just something that happens to me. The only difference between me and the Dunkin' guy is that he's in an ad.
Look, I didn't ask to be the king of summer. It just kind of happened. This tan? Genetics. I just got my color analysis back. Guess what? Golden summer. Literally.
Who the fuck's coming out with one next? They're getting bold. They were already bold, but they're getting fucking bold right now. Holy shit.
Why is it bold? Why are you assuring it is? What bias do you have that you believe they are saying certain race is bad? And why do you directly assume is that race you thought of? Who's actually having the prejudice? Who's actually implying that a skin color is bad? You. Your cognitive bias is making you the racist one. The dissonance is insane. This guy isn't even good looking. May his genetics end with him. You know that when they start messing up with things that have nothing to do with the actual issue, it is because they don't have valid arguments. What does his beauty or ugliness have to do with the actual product or the dialogue? Nothing. That tells me that you are just overreaching to hate so you can feel better about yourself, and you're trying to fulfill certain emptiness you may have, and that is not optimal. Displacing your own distorted thoughts in others just screams that you have problems that you need to address and solve. And also, may his genetics end with him? I know this is just one comment, but I found many similar ones to that. Who's actually promoting eugenics? That guy on the ad or the ones hating on it? Maybe the latter, who are screaming F the whites and hopefully they will disappear. But let's talk about something different to advertisements. Let's talk about someone that has been deemed a Yahtzee as well recently. I cannot say the term or they will ban this video. Billie Eilish for something she said during a concert in Dublin, Ireland.
Well, as you guys know, I'm Irish, so it's cool to be here. Obviously, I am not from here, but it's really cool to come somewhere and like everybody looks exactly like you.
Billie's last name is O'Connell, which has Irish roots. She has been very open about having Irish roots because of her dad. She's been very proud of that. She feels Irish in a way, so of course it is normal for her to praise an audience that she considers her people. It doesn't have to be racist necessarily. Because Billie was born and raised in Los Angeles, that is one of the most diverse cities in the whole world. Every race you can imagine, you'll probably find it in Los Angeles. So maybe, just maybe, Billie grew up without being able to find someone that looks like her aside from her own family. Maybe people looked at her, pointed out her unique traits, white skin, deep blue eyes, dark hair very often, which could have been exhausting at times. So going to Ireland feeling identified maybe was refreshing for her, and that is why she said what she said. Not because she's a racist, but because it is cool to find individuals that look similar to you. For humans, that feels validating, that feels inclusive, that creates a feeling of community, but it has nothing to do with being racist. And I'm gonna give you a similar example of this through a story time. Look, I went to Las Vegas to my family on May. We took an Uber and the driver, a very nice guy by the way, very kind, made conversation. You know, are you guys on vacation? Where do you come from? What do you eat there? How's life there? I'm from Ecuador and my country has different regions including the coast, and a significant part of the coast is populated by Afro-Ecuadorian people, black people. The driver was black as well, and while we were talking about the coast, he told us, yes, I've seen people that look like me there, and it feels cool to know that there are individuals similar to me in other parts of the world. That wasn't racist. That had nothing to do with eugenics. It was just the feeling of inclusion, of community. It could have been the same situation with Billie because she saw people that looked like her fans that probably styled themselves more as Billie with Billie's aesthetic, looking even more alike to her, so of course she was going to feel identified. Good morning, Billie Eilish is a racist, a Yahtzee, white supremacist woman. In translation, yeah, there is no POC here, everyone are white like me. Billie Eilish is literally the racist that the internet wants Taylor Swift to be. If she praises black people, then that's cultural appropriation. If she praises the white people, then she is the new Hitler. If she remains silent, then silence shows how trashy she is. What is right then? The most ironic thing is that Billie is actually one of the most woke celebrities out there. She endorsed Kamala Harris whenever she could.
Election day is finally here. Voting for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz is an unbelievably important way to protect our freedoms and our future. nothing changes without your votes. So please, please, please vote.
Times are really scary, and a lot is at stake. And I know that if you're in this room and you support me, you support women, and I hope that you will vote for
She has supported Black Lives Matter publicly. She's openly pro-Palestine, pro-LGBTQ, anti-deportations, feminist. She's just very progressive, but it took her one slip to be cancelled. And it wasn't even because of her, but because people with a distorted mindset deformed her words into a narrative that is not even there, but they have twisted the facts for them to fit into what they want to believe just for the sake of hating. Overall, these three events have psychological lessons for us to learn. Not everything is a political statement. Some things are just there and have other purposes as selling products. If you're convinced everything is some ideological cryptic message, you are generalizing because of your own situation in which you are trapped in a bubble full of biased beliefs, which is so problematic because it is not letting you see things beyond politics, and that's blocking you from developing in the various areas of your life. If you imply something that has not been said or shown, as thinking that an ad is promoting eugenics or that a white singer is a racist for feeling identified when she's surrounded by white people as well, let me tell you that you are mind reading, which is a dysfunctional behavior psychologically speaking, as you might actually be putting words in someone else's mouth that are based on your own prejudices, in your own insecurities, in your own actions, and you are just projecting them in other individuals to feel better about yourself. But that doesn't actually work long term because the sensation will pass, but the problem will remain there, which will cause you to act cyclically, and your discomfort will keep growing, making you more mentally ill over time. And if you live your life screaming in the name of the vulnerable ones, seriously, you might be living through a victim mentality in order to avoid facing your problems and changing. Trying to always be the victim is a way to blame others for the things that are happening to you, so you won't hold yourself accountable and avoid assuming your part in the downsides you are going through, which doesn't give you room to change for the better, because to improve, the first steps are identifying one's weaknesses and accept them, which won't be possible if you are always the victim. And even if you are not victimizing yourself but victimizing others, that is enhancing their shortcomings. That's encouraging the other individuals to keep stuck in a dysfunctional cycle, forbidding them to explore beyond disgrace, which is so selfish from you. Because sure, you might feel better for a while for being compassionate, empathetic, or whatever you want, but you're not letting the other person flourish. Instead, you keep pushing them down, and actually you're discriminating them by automatically assuming their vulnerable and miserable position because of one trait as their skin color, which is contradicting. Instead, if you find yourself thinking that a certain political movement is trying to brainwash us through playful propaganda 24/7, if you think certain race is trying to oppress another, if you think everything is a subliminal message, if you believe you always have to search for and find a new oppressed demographic to defend, you may want to do some introspection, because something inside of you is making you filter negative things exclusively that could also be completely fake, which is harmful for your mental health, as it only signals to voids you are trying to fill, to wounds you need to heal from, insecurities you need to address, so you can see things beyond an ideological spectrum. You can expand your knowledge, you can enjoy more things, you can be happier, you can develop as an individual being, to then be able to contribute to build an actual functional society instead of one full of hatred and division that makes you angry and bitter, and in general you'll be able to be healthier. Is there something you learned from this video or something that you would like to add to our conversation? Leave it in the comments down below. Also, don't forget to like and share this video with someone that may find this useful, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so that you never miss out from more interesting psychology content. Thanks for watching.